Welcome back. It's Home Stretch now on the program, and we're taking a look at Nigeria's investment promotion drive. A lot has been done with regards setting it up and ensuring that we achieve, among other things, bridging of infrastructural funding gap, which is estimated about $2.4 trillion within the next 30 years. Bosun is back here with me in the studio to talk about where we are at the moment with regards our investment promotion drive.
We've got quite a number of investment promotions going on, and almost everybody's doing something. And various ministries are doing, Mines will be doing its own, Trade and Investment will do, Chambers of Commerce will do, the Stock Exchange will do investment promotion drive, and everybody's doing the investment promotion drive. But if you take that from what the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, said at last week in Zambia, talking about why Nigeria needs to coordinate its own investment promotion. Now we have the NIPC, which is the Investment Promotion Commission. However, the way things have gone hasn't really provided us the opportunity to leverage Nigerian companies and Nigerian enterprises that would want to take advantage of cross-border investments. So we've had a number of trade relations between Nigeria and China and Singapore and whatever country. However, we don't have a streamline of what we want to do. And I give you an example. For example, Kenya is currently looking at the end of this year to review and harmonize the investment tax incentives, whatever, that will be given to foreign investors who wants to invest in Kenya from local government council to the federal government level. You need to harmonize all of this so that we're not working at cross purposes. Why does Bayelsa State want to bring in investment from overseas? How does that tie into what Ebonyi State wants to build? A new Salt Lake City, which I read in the media, in the newspapers this morning. And you have another state in Kogi State doing something. And Taraba State or Nasarawa State says want to do mining, for example. Now, do we have a single platform upon which we are driving in the same direction instead of 36 states and local governments and enterprises like Aliko and Tony Elumelu Foundation and the rest of their holdings or what have you, and then we're just trying to find our way around.
What needs to change for us to get this, in one basket, as it were?
We need to have it in terms of basket because, again, that is part of the problem with Nigeria. You want to go online and check doing business in Nigeria. What are your competitiveness in Nigeria? So are you dealing with the federal or state government? Now, if you're dealing with, in Nigeria, you have to deal with 36 different state governments. If you add FCT, that's 37. Now, you add the federal government, that means 38. Now, there's no foreign investor that wants to deal with 38 different
bureaucratic
red tapes. Thank you very much for helping me now there. Before he even invests in the country. So we need to bring it down. Now, East Africa and East Asia provide a good example of how this is being done. Look at Malaysia, for example. They streamline the entire foreign investment promotion and have a single board that oversees that. Now, do we have 36 state governments in Nigeria under the NIPC? No. Now, it was a good thing that the president put in a new head of that NIPC just a few weeks ago. But in terms of practicality, and I think the vice president, what he said in Zambia last week was quite in order, that Nigeria needs to fast track that. Other African countries like Kenya, Rwanda, smaller countries, non-oil producing countries, smaller population, are moving faster ahead Nigeria in that direction. So we've gone through the years of which everyone unto himself, we all write different investment rules and what incentives we're giving and what have you. Every state governor is arranging his own investment promotion or a trip overseas, and we all come back and we keep going round in circles. Now, we need to stop that because it's not enough for Dangote and the likes to invest in Zambia or in Ethiopia or any other country. We should have Nigerian companies also investing elsewhere. Now, it's not only cement Nigeria has the capacity to produce. Now, we want these companies in these countries also to come into Nigeria because we would like perhaps some of them, if they do business in Nigeria, they could list on our own exchange, for example. So it's not enough for Dangote Cement to list in Johannesburg, whatever stock exchange. We want those foreign companies to also list here. Now, this cross-border investment through foreign direct investment on one side and portfolio investment on the other hand, in terms of listing on our own market, raising capital on our own stock exchange, will help deepen our financial markets, deepen the economy, change the entire game about Pan-African doing business across Africa.
And also create jobs.
And create jobs. Now we don't have that. Look at how that is a major disadvantage for us in the mining sector. The only area where we've been able to do a little bit was in the oil sector, because that is crude and it's denominated in dollars, and that's the benchmark currency. Outside that, we've not been able to achieve almost anything else. Now, we've had a very liberal foreign portfolio investment platform since the days of President Ibrahim Babangida. We've had this foreign exchange market liberalization, foreign investment liberalization, that came under the IBB's tenure or regime. That has benefited the country to the extent that today Nigeria can afford to issue Eurobonds in multiples of millions of dollars. And that is very good. And private sector companies have been able to also do that. A few banks have done that internationally. That is very good for us. We've been able to attract foreign portfolio investment. But in terms of the core economy, the real economy itself, and I think that was where the Vice President hinted on that very little interview he had last week, that Nigeria needs to change quickly, that the new administration will do something very quickly to harmonize the entire investment promotion drive for Nigeria, so that we all just don't go to different countries.
Yeah, probably come up with one agency that would oversee and ensure that
both at the
you
federal,
have the policies and regulations,
state, and local government council, so that we don't just keep going overseas like we're junketting around. At the end of the day, we give the critics the opportunity to say, why is the Ondo State going to, for example, or Kogi State where I'm from, say, why is it going for an investment drive? What do you want? Now, by the time you come in to find out that you're doing business in Kogi State as a foreign investor, hold on a minute. By the time the federal government comes under the table and brings some documents for you to sign and say, hurry, you can't move on because this is a federal territory here, it becomes a problem. Now, we had issues with that with the railways, for example, because the railways is still a federal issue. Now, you can't do that at the state level because we have repealed that act. Now, Nigeria, a lot of foreign investors want to come into our mining sector, for example, the natural resources, but they can't come in like the head of the Nasarawa State Mining Company agency came here a few weeks ago and talked about it. There's a problem there because the federal government still has oversight in these areas. So how much success do you think Nasarawa State, for example, will have trying to get Anglo-American, Anglo-Gold, the rest, the BS, Harmony Gold, and the rest of them to come to do business here on the big scale?
Should we be looking at a more, should it be a federal regulated thing now, or should it be concentrated in the states? But then that will also be an issue because we have 36 states plus the FCT 37.
Yes.
And so we're going to have different rules and we're going to have different policies with regards businesses that can come into the country or come into the states, as it were.
You see, you run a commercial bank, for example, from the HQ, right? Then you have branches for this bank all over the place. Then you say, okay, fine, how am I going to market what is in my area? But you won't do that outside what comes from the headquarters of the bank. So if we believe that, yes, we want to run a country that will be marketable to international investors, then we need to harmonize all our interests and opportunities and whatever incentives we're offering foreign investors to do business here. Until we do that, we'll all be working at cross purposes, all trying to get something done. At the end, we expend so much and we achieve little.
Food for thought. Food for thought. Bosun, always a pleasure to have you on the program. Thank you so much for coming through.
Pleasure.
But that's it on today's edition of the program. Many thanks for spending time with us. I'm Harriet Agbinyi. Have a good day.